Hello and welcome to Claret and Booze. Today we're going to be taking a look at the rebuild job that David Moyes is going to have to do in the summer. I'm not going to be factoring in the under 23s in this show because I've just not seen enough of them to judge their ability really. So for this show we're going to focus on the senior players. Now it's not going to be a downbeat look at the situation. We are where we are in terms of our squad, and while it's definitely a concern that our already thin squad is going to become a whole lot thinner in the summer. That also means that Moyes, he's got no choice this time around. He's simply got to act and add players, and that means that we're going to have a new look team next season. So it is quite exciting. And also with the 3 record-breaking bids that were placed for players in January, as confirmed by Moyes himself, there is clearly going to be a hefty budget for him to rebuild. Now in this video I'm also discounting the rumours that Rice is leaving in the summer because that's all they are at the minute. It's just rumours. Is it a possibility? Well, yes, but no more of a possibility than it was last season when we had it all last year. It was the same rumours circulating. Moyes, in my opinion, he's got a big enough rebuild job to do without losing his prized asset in the middle of the process. So I'm sure he's going to do everything that he can to retain Rice because that would be, the biggest of all spanners to sort of throw in the works. Really, he's got so much work to do as it is. Also, the fact that Rice, he's got a World Cup to focus on, so he might himself decide against it'd be a major disruption to his life, wouldn't it? Because the World Cup starts just a few months into the new season. So in terms of do we have to let him go, I don't think we do. Rice will have, with the option that we've got, he'll have 3 years remaining on his contract in the summer. So we don't have to sell him if he fails to sign a new contract, which I think he should anyway, because the type of money that we're talking about, he's not exactly, if somebody puts in 140, 150 million pound bid, if that happens, then we'll probably have to let him go. I just don't see, I don't see what clubs are going to do that at the moment, but we shall see. As we all know, there are strong rumours that his partner in crime, Thomas Souček, is potentially unsettled as well. And he's looking for a move away, should the club not meet his wage demands. Now, the rumour is that Bayern Munich and Dortmund are both keen on the big cheque, and he is also very interested in a new start in Germany. But again, all we have are rumours, of course, but we can all see that for whatever reason, Souček's form he's been off this season, to put it nicely. His body language is also not as it was. He looks disgruntled to me, and he is nowhere near the player this season that he was last season. Now, whether that's due to fatigue, sort of mental and physical exhaustion from constantly playing, I don't know, or is it due to the fact that his midfield partner is transcended to another level this season, and maybe that's affected him. Again, we just don't know. We're guessing. But all I do know is, what I do know, the narrative that is constantly pumped out that Souček is not performing and scoring now because he has to hold so that Declan Rice can go forward is an absolute myth. It's clutching at straws to suggest that Souček's form has dipped because on occasion Dec drives a ball out of defence. Dec's defensive stats still eclipse that of Souček, and positionally throughout a game, Souček is undeniably the box-to-box midfielder. He gets up and down the pitch all game, which is why he covers more ground than any other player on the pitch. While Declan, he just holds the middle of the pitch. He dictates play. Souček has also had 35 attempts on goal in 24 games, but he's only scored 3. So he is getting in position, but for whatever reason, he just isn't as effective in an attacking sense anymore. And if you have a look at these images, Dec and Souček were so close last season and the season before, but now they clearly don't have as close a relationship. It's just not the same between them. I don't quite know what's happened. Now, do I want Souček to go? Of course not. I would much rather we worked with him to help recapture the player that he was, because both he and Rice do complement each other, and together they're a formidable partnership. Even at the moment, with Souček off his game, he still does a lot. He does a lot of hard work. He still offers as much to the partnership as he did before, but individually he's suffering. His stats are not quite there, but because his effort is never in question. But that said, we are definitely looking to replace either Rice or Souček, because that was indicated by the triple attempts to prize Phillips away from Leeds in January. West Ham do not attempt to spend 50 to 60 million on a central defensive midfielder in Phillips, which is a serious bid, when they've got Rice and Souček. So it stands to reason that one of them will definitely be off or already has 1 foot out the door in the summer. Now, if I had to choose between 50 million for Souček or 150 million for Rice, I'm sorry, I'm afraid it's Souček that makes way. We can replace and dare I say, improve on Souček, but there is simply no replacement for Declan. Therefore, I believe that Rice will give us at least one more season, whether he wants to or not. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand on that. Right, this is the graphic of the squad. You know, this is kind of what we're dealing with at the moment. Again, not factoring in under 23s. Now, as we can see, we all know what the glaring weaknesses are. I know that obviously we couldn't account for Ogbonna getting injured the way that he did, because at the start of the season, I would say having Zuma, Diop, Dawson and Ogbonna, most of us would have thought, yeah, you know what, we're covered if we get an injury. But that wasn't the case, was it? So as it stands at the moment, the glaring weaknesses that I believe that we were trying to fix in January will still be there in the summer. So that's centre-back, left-back as well, as good as Cresswell is. He's getting older. He's still technically one of the most gifted players in the team. But you need pace as a fullback. And like I say, both him and Soufal, they're not the quickest fullbacks. And in the Premier League, you need pace, because all of the Premier League attacking players are quick and they're tricky. So that is part of the reason why when we play Cresswell, half the time we put Fornals in front of him, because Fornals has got lots of good defensive attributes. He covers back, whereas Benrahma potentially not quite as much. So we're not putting Fornals, who is a brilliant player, creative player, who should be a central midfielder, on the left for his creative output. In my opinion, we're putting him on the left to not hold Cresswell's hand, but sort of cover him defensively, because you can't leave Cresswell one-on-one. You can't leave Soufal one-on-one, as we've just seen. But Soufal is getting left one-on-one an awful lot more now, which is, I think, why he's exposed, because Bowen is getting forward and Bowen is scoring goals. So Bowen is not tracking back as much as he did before, because he can't. He can only do one job. He still does get back occasionally, but Bowen is clearly focused on the attacking side of his game now, which is what I want. So you need self-sufficient fullbacks, you know, players that can deal with stuff on their own. Now, we're almost certain that the players that are going to be moving on are as follows. You've got Areola. He's off soon. I don't want to go as far as saying that it's been an unsuccessful loan, because I don't think he's done anything wrong. He didn't have a great game in the Kidderminster game, but neither did anyone else. But nonetheless, I think he's one of the highest paid players at the club at the moment. He plays for PSG. It's a stupid wage that he's on. I think he was brought in. I don't think there was ever intention to sign him. I think we've always had our eye on a different target. So I think he'll be going back, as we all know. I don't think there's any way that we keep him. The other one is Fredericks. He's going to be going as well, because we've got Soufal, because we've got Johnson, and we've also got Ashby on the right-hand side now. Again, it's a bit of a shame. I like Fredericks. He's not just a right-back. You can use him as a right-winger as well. And if not for his injury problems, it would be a bit of a no-brainer for me to sort of to retain him, because I quite like him. But with the players that we've got, that's kind of, we're overloaded on that area of the pitch. The other one that is going to be going, and I don't want to be horrible and say hopefully, but it's Masuaku on the left-hand side. He's apparently really, really good around the dressing room. He's really well liked, and I think that's kind of why he's involved in the team. You know, Moyes does like his squad seniority thing. So I think when Masuaku is available and he's on the bench, he does kind of use him. He likes to use him on the left-hand side, doesn't he? Again, because it provides cover to Cresswell. Because although he's not great as a fullback himself, he's got good defensive attributes for a left winger, more so than someone like Benrahma. So that's probably why Moyes likes to use him. But I do think Masuaku, where he's apparently out now for the rest of this season. His knee injury's returned. He's going to be out until the summer. He will only have a year left at that point, so I can't see us keeping him on. I think we'll try and sell him or potentially settle up his contract because, it just hasn't gone well for him at West Ham, unfortunately. I don't hate him. I think he comes across as a nice guy, but I just don't think that. Yeah, I think he might be off. Next one is, as we know, is Mark Noble, Captain Mark Noble. It's going to be a sad day at the end of the season because it's the end of an era. Now Mark Noble isn't leaving the club. We know that he's going to be staying and working with West Ham. In what capacity, I don't know. There's lots of stuff being spoken about at the minute, but yeah, it's going to be a sad day, and he will be a loss, and that's another reason why I can't imagine Declan Rice going. Imagine losing Noble and Rice from this setup. God no. So I don't think that's going to happen. The other one is Crowell. Again, been a disaster. This one, it's been the strangest loan deal I've ever known. He ain't really been given a chance, but then when we've seen him, you can kind of understand why. He's just doesn't seem very good. He was given a good chance to shine against Kidderminster. He didn't take it. If you're not going to shine in a game like that, then when are you? And the same goes for this bloke here, Yarmolenko. He's definitely going to be gone. His contract's expired. We will not be renewing that. His mind's already made up. He's clearly got talent, but he doesn't want to be here. I think he wanted to be gone in January, but for whatever reason we couldn't get a deal for him. So he'll be gone. And finally, and sadly, Ogbonna. Now, as we all know, Mr. Sullivan released a statement saying that we will be extending Ogbonna's contract beyond the summer to support him through his rehabilitation because he's such a nice guy. Well, as it turned out, that wasn't the case. We would extend his contract if it looked like he was going to be making a full recovery, and the rumours are that isn't the case. This could be potentially career-ending for Oggy, and that would mean that he wouldn't have his contract renewed and he would no longer be a West Ham player going into next season, which is really sad. He's a great player, one of my favourites. So that's the players that we know are going to be gone. Moving on to some question marks that we've got over players that are in the current first team and squad as well. Obviously, you've got Vlasic, who hasn't settled yet. He'll obviously get next season, I think, or will he get sent out on loan? I just don't know. I know that we've got examples with Fornals, who has also he took time to settle in when we came in, so we have got that as a reference point. We've seen that sometimes players just don't do it in the first season. However, you did see glimpses from Fornals. You saw glimpses from Ben Rama. I've not really seen anything from Vlasic, if I'm honest. It doesn't look like he's struggling physically or anything like that. It just doesn't seem like he's got what it takes to be a Premier League attacker. He's not tricky enough. He isn't quick enough, and he doesn't seem to be strong enough. So I don't know how he addresses that, because in those positions, that's what you need. Could he be? I'm not writing him off, by the way, but there is definitely a question mark over Vlasic. He could come good next year. He could come good towards the tail end of this season. We just don't know. I mean, God knows we need him to. But yeah, there's definitely a question mark over Vlasic. Ben Johnson. Now this one worries me. There's a story that just won't go away, that Ben Johnson, whose contract expires in the summer, although we do have an option to extend it by a year, he's been refusing to sign new contracts because he wants to know whether or not he's going to have a role in the starting lineup. He wants to be a first team player. He's not a baby. He's 22. He's 6 months younger than Dec. He wants to be playing. When he was playing and playing consistently, it was the most successful that we've been this season. There was a run of 7 games where we beat Liverpool, Tottenham, Everton, Man City, and it was brilliant. And then all of a sudden, Soufal's recovered. Soufal is back in the team. And then Johnson can't get a look in again in his favoured position, because Johnson is a very, very good right back, but not so great at left back. So he was covering for Cresswell. Obviously, his performances are not going to be as good on the left-hand side. But he can't seem to get in front of Soufal at the moment, which is a real worry. Now, I hope that this gets resolved. I think the only way that can be resolved is if Moyes does the right thing at the minute, and that is to play Johnson over Soufal, because I think Soufal deserves to be dropped at the moment. He's on a consistent run of bad form. It isn't improving. He is being targeted. Brendan Rodgers said before the Leicester game, we know how West Ham are going to set up. We've got our game plan. We know how to attack them. Well, that game plan was to target Soufal. In a similar way that people used to target Masuaku on the other side, that is now happening with Soufal. Ben Johnson, while he may not have the same attacking output as Soufal, defensively he's solid. You know, he rarely gets beat. There was a ridiculous stat, I can't remember what it was, about so many games where he had not been beaten in a one-on-one situation. So he's a solid right back. And when you've got Bowen on the same wing, who is now concentrating on attacking, as opposed to sort of dropping back and allowing Soufal to overlap and get crosses in, that's fine. We just need a defender on that side now. Bowen's doing the attacking on the right-hand side. So in my opinion, I think Moyes has got to get Johnson to sign that contract. And the only way he's going to do that is if he stops playing him. And he deserves to play, in my opinion. The next one is Soufal, and again, I'm not going to labour this point. It's a question mark over his performance, not whether or not he's going to be here or not. But again, his form it's like the curse of the right back with West Ham. You know, they have one good season, and then it goes wobbly. But yeah, so it goes back to what I was just saying about Johnson. I'm not going to repeat myself. He shouldn't be starting at the moment. You know, I don't care if he's Souček's best mate. He shouldn't be in that team. Next, we've got Declan Rice. Now, there are rumours over Declan Rice, and there are always going to be rumours over Declan Rice until probably he does eventually go. I don't think that's going to be this season, so I'm saying that Rice is staying. Or I'm hoping and praying that Rice is staying anyway. Then we've got his partner in crime, Thomas Souček, next to him. I mean, what a great midfield partnership that is. But again, you've got similar rumours. But the difference is, whereas you're not really hearing that Rice does want to go. Although, you know, there's rumours coming out that he's not signed a contract and stuff. But that could be for a multitude of reasons. That could be because he wants West Ham to show intent and ambition. But you kind of seeing with Thomas Souček's body language that he isn't happy. He doesn't look happy. So for that reason, I can see there's more chance of Souček leaving as opposed to Rice, because Rice is a captain. He's playing for England. Everything's rosy in Rice's garden. Not so much for Souček at the minute. Doesn't seem to be. Cresswell. Right, now this, next season, he can't be first choice left back. Great second choice left back, but he, again, you know, I feel so sorry when we play the likes of Fornals out on that left wing, because Fornals is a great attacking player. But Fornals just spends all game covering Cresswell, and then we criticise Fornals for his lack of attacking output. He's not there for his attacking output. He's there purely to cover for Cresswell. So I want what I'm talking about on the right hand side, which is a self-sufficient fullback in Ben Johnson's, and that allows Bowen to do what he needs to do in an attacking sense. I want the same on the left-hand side. So we have got to go out. We have got to get a new left-back to come into the first team, so that Cresswell, we can start phasing him out, and he'll be a good backup for a couple of years. But I don't think, like I say, I think next season, for me, if I had a choice, I would be looking to replace him in the starting lineup. Not get him out of the club, but we need a new first choice left back, in my opinion. Next, Issa Diop. Well, prior to the Leicester game, where he put in an absolutely near perfect performance, and it really was, on the left side of centre back as well, he's been an absolute disaster. He started off well at the club, you know. Obviously, there was rumours of Mourinho alliance in, didn't he? There was rumours that they were going to be coming in with a 60 million bid, but for whatever reason, and I don't know why, his form has just completely plummeted. So Would we let him go if a bid came in for him? I think we probably would. And it's a shame. I like Issa. I think there is a player there. I think he's one of those players that I think he'll go elsewhere and he'll be brilliant. But there's no point keeping a player around that isn't flourishing in our setup, and he doesn't seem to be. But he proved the other day there is clearly a player there. There really, really is. So who knows? I mean, he could push on towards the end of the season, and solve our search for a centre back problem. I don't know. Can't see it. But there is question marks over him. And Ben Rama as well. He's another one. He was expensive. You're looking at 25. He'll need 25 to 30 million. And his stats are okay, but he does blow hot and cold. If you stick him in the starting lineup, he'll be brilliant one game, and then he'll just go quiet. He'll go off the boil. He'll go missing for 5 or 6 games after. Take him out, bring him on as a sub, and he starts showing his ability again. And that is what's frustrating with Ben Rama. We're not questioning the fact that has he got talent. We know that Ben Rama's got talent, and that's what makes it worse. He's got talent, but he doesn't appear to have the heart to produce performances all the time. So again, in terms of a starting lineup, because I'm talking about improving our team for next year, in terms of a starting lineup, do I see these players in the first team? Well, Ben Rama, no. I think he's a very good option from the bench at the moment. He's not consistent enough to be a first team player, in my opinion. So I think at the moment he's just going to be a squad player, a bench player, and that will continue into next season unless he sorts himself out. Right, now this one I'm just not having. Right, there is no way on earth that Jared Bowen is leaving, but we've all heard the rumours. We all know that Klopp is a bit in love with Jared Bowen. He can't have him. He's brilliant, and he's only going to get better. And that's exactly the type of player, Bowen and Rice. Bowen has become as important to our team as Declan Rice. Those two are amazing. They really, really are. So I'm not having that. There's no way Bowen's going. Apparently, we're trying to negotiate a deal with him now. Also, Danny Dyer, innit? So I can't think the old father-in-law is going to be very happy if he cuts and runs. So yeah, that's a bit of an overview of the current squad, the players that are going to be going in the summer, and the players that we've got. There are questions around either whether they're going to be moving on, or just on their performances and their status in that first team. And as you can see, that leaves us with this group of players here once the others have left. So as soon as all the other players leave in the summer, we're left with a squad of 15. And as we've discussed, there are question marks over whether or not some of these players should be or will be, hopefully not, part of the actual starting lineup. But these players, if they're replaced in that starting lineup, they do give us a squad, because although I don't feel like they're the best option for the first team, they're more than good enough for backups. Cresswell's a great left backup option. Same as Soufal as well. So I think by replacing the members of the first team that we've currently got and improving on those, we're giving ourselves a squad. And that's probably what David Moyes is going to do. So a little bit controversial. These are the players that I see as critical and key to the first team next year. So now I've taken Souček out of that because I think that we're going to be replacing him. Obviously, if we don't replace him, Souček is in there because central midfield is fine. But if he goes, providing we spend the right money and we get the right player, I think we can improve because we can upgrade in that position. So like I say, Johnson for me is the right back for the future, providing we can get him to commit. Zuma, brilliant centre back. We do need a left centre back partner for him. I'd love to think it was going to be Issa Diop, but I don't think he's going to be. Dawson, as we've seen, he's a brilliant centre back, and you can't get a better backup, And he's not that old. I think he's only 31, 32, so he's going to be more than good for a couple of years. But I do think we need a left centre back as well, and we need that left back. So there's a gap in defence there, and in central midfield, and of course up front. Antonio can't be our starting forward next year, I don't think. He's not a striker for a start. He's not. I don't think he's as effective at the moment, because I don't even think it's down to him being fatigued. I think he's just managing himself. I think, like I said, I think he's kind of playing at 50% of his game. He's not chasing lost causes because he's got to. We can't risk him getting injured. So a lot of what people are getting frustrated about with Antonio, I don't think it's entirely his fault, but he does do an awful lot of work for the first team. But undoubtedly, if we want to improve and we want to become even more potent than we are at the moment, then we need to improve in that centre forward position, and we can do, and I think we will. So, like I say, these are the key players that I think that we need to build our team around in the summer. So, with a couple of additions, quite a few additions, we improve our first team and we give ourselves a squad. So, with that in mind, moving on to players that we've looked at in the summer, players that we've reviewed and stuff like that. These are kind of potential players that I believe that that we will be going after in the summer. Now, like I say, don't you may laugh at them. I think they're very realistic, to be honest. When you look at the players that we were linked with, and David Moyes, I don't think he will change tact just because he wasn't successful getting a few players in the summer. I don't think he'll just bin those players. I think they'll still very much be on his radar. So the players that we were linked with, I can see us going again. So with that in mind, you've got Conor Gallagher, right? So I did a comparison. I'm not going to show you the stats because they get boring, but basically I put Thomas Souček and Declan Rice up against Phillips, Ward-Prowse and Conor Gallagher in terms of their output. Now, Phillips is more defensively minded. He's superb in terms of his statistical output. And Ward-Prowse is brilliant from an attacking point of view. This guy ticks all the boxes. He's a box-to-box player. He's got brilliant defensive stats, brilliant attacking stats. To have him next to Rice would be outstanding. And with the type of money that we were talking about spending on Phillips, 50 to 60 million, we could get him. There's 100% we could get him. Yes, there's the argument that if we go in for Conor Gallagher, Chelsea are going to demand Rice the other way. But no. I don't think so. Even if we got him on loan for a year, just to sort of solve an issue, I would be happy because this kid's been brilliant wherever he's gone the last few seasons. So I'd be over the moon with him. So he would be my pick personally, but I wouldn't turn my nose up at a Ward-Prowse or a Phillips. Both of them would be an upgrade on Souček, believe me. Next, obviously we know this chap. We've been linked with him for an awful long time. And it does look as though we're going to be... The rumour's never gone away. The rumour is that the deal's almost basically done, that he's going to be coming in. He's a good keeper. He is a good keeper. He's a very good keeper, actually. He hasn't played particularly well this year, apparently, but it could be because he's got his mind elsewhere. So, yeah, he's going to come in. I think he is going to be our number one, and it'll be Areola going the other way. Never been more certain of a signing than this chap, so he'll be coming in. The other one, of all the players that we reviewed in the transfer window, pointlessly reviewed, I might add, this chap, Aaron Hickey, stood out. He's brilliant. I mean, the Scots are really blessed for attacking fullbacks at the minute, and this is another one. I haven't got all of his stats in front of me, but he is a young, quick, brilliant fullback. He plays for Bologna at the moment. I think he would cost between sort of 10 and 15 million. We know that Moyes really, really likes him. He was linked with him. So I think that there could be potential in this, but this is the type of fullback that we need. He comes in, he replaces Cresswell. He gives us more. He's a good... Well, not more technically, because I'm not going to, what the technical side of Cresswell's game is brilliant, his delivery, but this kid's got that as well, and he's also got pace to burn, and it would be an upgrade on what on this version of Cresswell, because as we all know, Cresswell was never really recovered from his injury properly, so not his fault, but nonetheless, we do need to upgrade. This is the other one that I would hang my hat on. We know that Tarkowski's coming in. We know that. Yes, there was rumours that he didn't want to move down south, but apparently that's all been quashed now. There is apparently there is an appetite from Tarkowski to come down and play for David Moyes. He wants to play for West Ham now. He likes the claret and blue. He wants to stay with that. And do you know what? He's a David Moyes player. He's a brilliant centre back, and it would be a solid. Whether he's your type of player or not, him on the left side of centre back and Zuma on the right. That's a really, really solid centre back pairing, isn't it? You know, he's a good player. He's a really good player, Tarkowski. He's in his peak as well. He's going to be 29 by the time we sign him. So that's another one. Expect that's going to happen. And then finally, this man, will he sign? Won't he sign? I think he will. I think he will. I think at the end of this saga that we've had for the last few windows, I think that finally it's going to all be worth it. And Jesse Lingard is going to come to West Ham. He's going to hit the ground running when he comes in, like he did when we signed him first time around. And he is going to get a call up to the World Cup squad. And I genuinely believe it. I've been getting irritated with the rumours because it felt like we was never going to sign him, but I don't think it was ever down to him. It was down to the club, down to his agent. He does want to come to West Ham. You know, we're not going to be. It's not going to be easy to get him, and I think that they need to try and get the deal agreed soon. Not leave it till the end of the window again, because I can't be asked with that shit. But there will be other clubs after him. He's a real talent. So I would imagine there's going to be clubs queuing around the block for him. So, but look, he's clearly a loyal player. You know, he had loyalty to Man United. He was a one club man. He had a good time when he came down to West Ham, but he wanted to go and prove himself at Manchester again. He's a Manchester boy. But the fact that he's loyal makes me think that because he's got that connection now at West Ham, he could well come to us. So, I think he will. I think he will come to us now. So that'd be bloody good free transfers, wouldn't it? And when you add the big talking point, which is a striker, and now what I'm going to assume is, because this is a bloke that we have been linked with for a while, we did put 2 bids in for him in January, and it wasn't down to the player turning us down. The player was apparently interested, but Benfica did not want to sell, and that was Darwin Núñez. So I think we will go back in for him, and I think that there will be an agreement there with this player. I think the money that we bid for him is enough. I think 40 to 50 million for Núñez is going to be enough to get him. But like I say, Benfica were never going to sell him at the tail end of a window because they need to replace him. He's their main striker. So it was never going to happen in January. But I would like to think that rather than sort of Moyes going back to the drawing board and go, all right, I didn't get them in January, let's bin them and go for someone else. No, I don't think that's the case. These are clearly targets that David Moyes wants. So he isn't just going to write them off. He's going to go back in again. And it wasn't the player that turned us down, it was the club. So I think we're going to go back in for him. And he'll be fantastic for us. He's big, strong, quick. He's a straightforward centre forward, if you like. He's no frills. He runs his bollocks off. He's a powerhouse. He's clinical. He links up play well. He's, like I say, he's no frills. He will be a hit. He's built for the Premier League. So to get a player like that, it would be a massive upgrade for West Ham, in my opinion. So with those players, if my 5 players were to be signed, this is what the team would look like, and the squad, I might add. So, like I say, and that's it. With 5 signings, 3 of them free, you've kind of sorry, that's 6 signings, isn't it? With 6 signings and 3 of them free, you've fixed a lot of the issues there. You know, obviously the free transfer on the keeper, free transfer on the centre back, free transfer on Lingard. I mean, that would just be an absolute steal. You're looking at 10 to 15 million on Hickey. I would say if we went in for Gallagher or an equivalent, you're looking at around about 50 million. That is a type of level player that we need. And finally, 50 million on the striker. And then if you look at that and you look at the squad, we've got a decent squad. You've got Cresswell to cover Hickey. You've got Diop, and you've got Diop and Dawson to cover the centre backs, which is absolutely fine. You've got Fornals and Lanzini. We might need to add another central midfielder, but you have got Fornals and Lanzini, who I believe can play in that role. And we've also got players like Connor Coventry, who I think could sort of come into the first team squad as well. So that's central midfield covered. I think we're okay in the attacking areas as well. Like I say, I probably wouldn't start Antonio on the left. He will probably become a bit of an impact player for me. That's the role that I see Antonio assuming. So rather than playing at 50% for 90 minutes, I'd rather him play at 100% for 45 minutes, because that's what he's doing at the moment. Antonio's managing himself because he has to, because he's just got to, otherwise he'll break down. So it's not because he's being bloody lazy or anything. It's because we need him and he's doing the right thing. Although he isn't scoring goals, he's still doing a good job for the team. And then you've got the likes of Ben Rama, you've got Souček if he's still here, and Vlasic if he comes good. Not forgetting Fabianski, what a great backup keeper. So for me, with a few signings, but the right signings, we could look brilliant next year. And obviously we've got to retain important players as well. We need to retain those players, and if we do that, then I think all is rosy in the West Ham garden. So yeah, that's my thoughts on David Moyes' squad rebuild for the summer. That is the type of thing that I think he needs to do. Obviously, look, not player for player. This was just for illustration purposes, but I would love that. If it was these players, would you be happy with it? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Okay, all right, brilliant. Thank you very much. Come on, you irons.